Good evening, everyone, and welcome to tonight's July 22nd, 2025 Alton Board of Selectmen meeting. Can everybody rise for the Pledge of Allegiance and moment of silence?
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. I do have an amendment to the agenda. I have to add under announcements, the town clerk tax collector's office will be closed from 1 p.m. to 3 p.m. on Monday, August 11th, to accommodate a scheduled demonstration of the LHS election polls. Any other amendments to the agenda? Anything to add, boys?
Nope.
Mr. Chairman, I move we accept the agenda as amended.
I'll second. All those in favor? Aye.
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 No appointments. The public participation policy applies to all selectmen meetings. A copy of it is on the back of each agenda, posted outside this meeting room and on our website. All right, so right into new business, number 1, the donation of the Parks and Recreation sign. Kelly?
There was a proposal that I hope is before you now regarding a donation from a group of residents for a new sign. I'm just here to answer any questions you might have about that.
So, very generous. Yeah.
Yes, there
It's
should
very
be,
generous.
the whole proposal should be in your binder.
It
If
is.
anybody has any questions?
And I did obviously run examples of what we were talking about to Kelly.
I'm assuming you're in favor of it.
The Parks and Rec Department is very appreciative and thinks this would be a wonderful addition to the property, and it would be very useful for promoting the programs.
And I understand it'll be a lot easier for you in the winter months to be able to change the lettering and change
Yes.
things.
Currently, we're not able to use a sign in the winter.
Excellent.
Yeah, I think it looks good. It's PVC signboard.
Yeah, were you going with Alton signs?
Yeah.
That's great. Keeping it local.
Keeping it local and keeping it like hose it down in the spring, hopefully as a maintenance.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, it sounds good. And the actual,
Thing they need, because it's under 5,000, right? They don't need anything from us, do they?
We don't need to have a public hearing, but the board does need to vote to
Yep.
accept the gift.
I'll make a motion, we accept the gift for the sign purchase in the amount of $2,995.
I'll second that motion.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
It passes. All right.
Thank you, and thank you for the people that donated the sign too at no tax expense. So thank you very much for those efforts.
We appreciate it.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. It's very generous.
Number 2, Fire Department. Citation, come on down, chief.
Join me up here, please. Yep. What do you want them up front? What's the best course of action? There we go. Perfect. Well, thank you, Mr. Chairman, members of the board, for allowing me to speak tonight. On June 9th, 2025 at 10:37 in the morning, Alton Fire Rescue was dispatched to the Alton Central School for reported cardiac arrest. Both on-duty and off-duty personnel responded to the scene and located an adult male patient who was in cardiac arrest. At this time, fire department personnel took over patient care from bystanders who were performing CPR. Crew members started to provide advanced life support procedures for this patient. While crew members were performing ALS care, the patient did obtain a return of spontaneous circulation. The patient was transferred into the ambulance and transported to Portsmouth Regional Hospital for further treatment. It is my belief that because of the level of professionalism, quick actions, and most importantly, the high quality of patient care provided, this patient is expected to make a full recovery. It is because of those actions that the responding crew members are being awarded this unit citation and merit badges. So we have two members that are unable to make it tonight, Captain Greg Tromby and paramedic Timothy St. Germain. So first up is Lieutenant. EMT Jessica Griffin. It's alphabetical, believe it or not. Firefighter EMT Brandon Ragu. Deputy Chief Evan Turcott. And firefighter paramedic Brandon Wood. Surprised about the level of service that this department provides this community and actually the neighboring communities. So every day, I'm shocked, not shocked, I'm pleasantly surprised about what these people, men and women, do for this community. So it makes my job easier, and I look forward to a long service here in Alton, and hopefully they continue as well. So, but thank you.
Can we get one more for them, guys, without you? Thank you all very much. All right, number 3, assignment of road names, Ridgeline Drive and Brookside Drive. If I'm under the correct understanding of these, this is what they want at Cherry Valley.
Yes, correct. The Lakes Region Hospitality Group, requested, a name change for Ridgeline and Brookside Drive at the Sugar Hill proposed subdivision.
So the only issues would be if E911 has a problem. Other than that, they should be fine to get those, right?
Correct. There was no
was
indication.
no issue.
Yeah, no indication that there was any problem.
Is there any questions from you guys about the road names up there?
No.
Gentlemen?
No, the email chain was a bit confusing. I was having a little difficulty following that, but
Yeah,
I got
but-
lost in the
I-
3
I got-
road names thing.
I did too. I did too.
I was like, what are they, there's 6 roads up there?
No, it's just in case there's another, road that has a similar name or anything like that, that they had to choose more than
You need a
one.
vote or anything on this, or is that okay, just, we were just discussing it?
No, we do need a vote to allow the name change.
I'll make a motion, we allow the applicant, Lakes Region Hospitality Group, to change the road names on tax map 16, lot 18 and 20 to Ridge Line Drive and Brookside Drive.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Thank you, gentlemen. All right, number 4, solid waste compactor container purchases. Seth? New truck's working good?
It looks nice.
Yeah, so. We had already talked about this anyway, we knew this was coming up.
Yeah,
New
so,
containers.
Tony Simons had come to me, a couple containers went out for repairs. They are down to Waste Management's repair facility. They usually provide us a pretty reasonable price for the repairs, but one of the 40-yard compactor containers came back with a quote for just under $5,000. I think it was 4,900.
Yeah, 49 and change,
Yeah.
49.60.
New, they're 10,000. In working with Atlantic Recycling, they have a pair of compactor containers, Marathon 40-yard compactor containers that are refurbished. I did go down and put eyes on them. They're green. They're in good shape. They've been refurbished. They have a couple patches, but
Other than that,
absolutely.
What's
they're
the life expectancy? Like, how old is the containers that they quoted the repair on?
That-
They're old, aren't they?
That's an older one, yeah. They
What's the
last
expectancy?
quite a
these
while.
days?
To be honest with you, I don't really have an answer as far as how long they last.
Probably how easy they are on.
Right.
yeah,
Honestly, with the truck moving around the yard now, which the loader will still move them from time to time, but with the loader, I mean, with the truck dropping them off in the yard, they'll
Saves
A little easier on them.
40.
40.
I think I put on
Yeah,
there
40.
40.
When
I think I put on
40s.
42 with their 40s.
I mean, if we were gonna spend 5,000 to refurbish one, and we can spend 8 for
Yeah,
two.
this is-
And how many were we talking about purchasing because of the new truck? I know we said, yeah, there was. I
we were
couldn't
talking about
remember.
one or two.
Yeah, one or two. One of them that would be a smaller 30-yarder, and that would be for like the household hazardous waste day, and it's just because of the height of the sides.
Did they have any 30 yards at Atlantic Recycling Equipment? Did they have
They
any?
didn't at the time, but I mean, they've cycled through them, so I can always have them keep an eye out for one. If they get one that they refurbish and they're looking to sell, we can grab a used one.
So if we get these two for the 8,000, we should only need one 30-yarder, right? In
Well, it's
theory.
not different, I'm sorry, different dumpster in that aspect. The two we were talking about, other two were open tops.
Oh, these two, okay.
Yeah, there's a compactor container.
I gotcha.
Yeah, yeah. So these are the ones for the household trash that go down in the
open
compactor out
top.
there. Yeah. The 30-yarder would be an open top, and the reason for 30-yarder would just because of the lower sides, and then kind of sticks to the household hazardous waste day, so they can throw over the side.
Yeah.
The empty containers. Not be.
And we have no issue hauling a 40-yard container.
No, that's what we have now. Same size, same everything. Hook lift, inside, outside, rail setup, same containers.
Just newer and nicer.
Yeah, just yeah.
Mr. Chairman, I move that we authorize the Public Works Director to purchase two 40-yard refurbished recycling containers for a total of $8,000.
Second that.
Well, where you gotta state where it's coming from, where the 8,000 comes from.
Atlantic Recycling Equipment.
Atlantic
LLC.
Recycling Equipment LLC.
Nailed it.
That's it.
And who was the second? Was that Drew?
I was
That's
Drew.
All right, all those in favor, boys?
Aye.
Aye.
So the payment for that was to come out of, asking to take that out of, the recycling. Revolving. Yeah, recycling revolving account. The new equipment line on that, what's appropriated for the year, that would put it in a deficit, but there is 408,000 in the recycling revolving account, so we need to move the funds through that line.
Do you need him as the authorized rep to sign?
No,
Is that-
don't.
The way he worded it was fine?
Yep.
Okay.
No, we're good.
Yeah, you're good.
Excellent.
Okay, thank you.
Perfect, great. Thanks.
Might as well stay right there.
Yep, yep.
You might as well stay right there.
Old business. We're gonna go to Hidden Springs, the land clearing update.
So, Mr. Chairman, members of the board, in your packet, you'll see, this was the, paperwork, the bond request, the conceptual design by Ty and Bond, for the Hidden, Springs Road. I will tell you, I had a meeting with the Conservation Commission on Wednesday. They had received a copy of this. I had a meeting prior to going out to bid with them. They had requested a 100-foot setback from Herd Brook on either side, which we accommodated. You'll see in your book, there's an additional letter from the Conservation Commission. I wanted to bring that to the board's attention tonight, address a few things and get some decisions from the board. Conservation Commission was concerned, obviously, about first of all, they asked about an alteration of terrain permit. Well, we're in process with that. There was no intent to go in there without an AOT permit. Ty and Bond was contracted. The reason they did all of the work that they've done, we had to have a conceptual plan in order to get an alteration of terrain permit through the state. So before any earth-moving activities go in there, we can cut, we can log, we cannot remove any stumps or grade any land, earth-moving activities without alteration of terrain. But this is a big operation, so obviously we needed to get a jump on it because we were behind the power curve on at least scheduling it, getting people around, because they're probably not gonna get to the site for a while. So that was the first thing. Another thing that Conservation Commission mentioned, is that they wanted a 100-foot setback from every wetland, not just the brook. You know, that's entirely up to the board. There's only a few other small wetlands that were delineated that are not connected to the brook. I will say that the 100-foot setback was an attempt so that we could work together harmoniously with conservation. But if the board were to decide to sell this property and put it out, no other resident or developer would be required any setback from Herd Brook. So a 100-foot setback is very liberal, in attempts to protect the brook, which I think there's no doubt about it, that that's very important. But pointing out to the fact that the town only has one piece of property to work with, to do this, to accommodate it, I think 100 feet around every single wetland on the property is a little excessive.
Considering that a private party wouldn't have to do it at all.
Nobody would have to. Nobody
Doing,
would.
doing
So-
a 100-foot setback for the river or the brook is, yeah, it's a good idea.
And the brook, I understand, it's
But
part of.
every spot of wetland.
The
But that's it.
properties above it are conserved, so conserving that brook all the way through is very important. And when we had our first meeting, that was what was expressed. And, you know, I went right back to Ty and Bond and said, put a 100-foot buffer on either side of the brook and show me what it looks like. And you see that those lines on either side of the brook is the 100-foot buffer.
It almost covers that spot of wetlands that they were talking about. But
Right.
If we did 100 feet from that, you'd be right at the.
It would eliminate
Yeah.
the infrastructure needed for
Absolutely.
the DPW building. And the reason for the open space in the back, as you can see with that conceptual design, it connects to the solid waste center.
Right.
And that was the intent, was so that we could keep everything housed and incorporated together and make it more efficient. The other reason for clearing the area behind DPW was during our conversations with planning was to be able to have lay-down storage for culverts, for pipe, for all that. I mean, right now, all of that is on the hill above
Extremely
DPW.
limited, very limited.
So that was a concern, is obviously we're not gonna go pave all that space, but we did need a level area where they could drop supplies and, house them safely and catalog, you know, what we had for stockpile for equipment.
Where would you you'd obviously move salt sand piles, right?
As
To
far
this
as,
property?
yeah, they set them off
That
to the
is-
side.
that's the
That's all
salt
good,
shed itself,
yeah,
okay.
yeah. And that was another reason, Ryan, just correct me if I'm wrong, with why Ty and Bond advised moving it forward, because the lot was a little wider, so we could actually put that on the other side of the building and give it more of a setback.
Right, we gave it,
Give it
the
even
salt
more.
shed is at the farmost point from the brook or any area.
Right.
Which is all the way by the church property.
Yeah, okay.
The other thing with this conceptual is, we weren't gonna do anything with the recreational side of things on the other side of the brook until Ty and Bond said that as part of the alteration of terrain, any potential use for the property has to be disclosed during the permitting process and the application, future possibilities. So we came up with the conceptual. Obviously, the DPW building is our number one priority and concern right now. But the town, for many, many years, there's been a lot of talk and outcry for more expanded recreation space, larger fields, different areas within town. A lot of people reference the Nick over in Wolfboro and having something along those lines. We do not have any property in town, nor is there any property available that's big enough for anything like that. The idea behind this is that if we clear the area, we get an AOT, we can level it out, then the town can build upon that. That'll always be an area where the town can further decide down the road what we would put there, whether we raise money and we get donations, whether we do a warrant article for a project. But that can be determined down the road, but at least there's a designated space now. Because right now, every time we bring up the topic of a recreational center or additions to recreational field, there's a lot of talk and concern around the limited amount of space. Jones Field is maxed and tapped as it is right now. Correct me if I'm wrong, but we're still lining soccer fields in the outfield of the baseball diamonds and the softball diamonds. We're maxing every inch we can to get the fields for our youth and the recreational programs. So when Ty and Bond said we needed to do it up front, again, I can only stress that it's a conceptual, that there is no plan to go ahead and try to raise money for a recreational area this big with all these fields at the same time as raising a bond for a DPW building. That would be way too hard of an ask for the taxpayers all at once. But the idea behind it is that we would have a designated space, we would have an area where we can now build upon for the future. And,
Planning ahead.
so, planning ahead, yes.
Just planning ahead.
And the permit, the other thing is that Ty and Bond cautioned against is that if we did have a notion or a plan to utilize that property, that if we didn't do it now, DES's rules and regulations are changing pretty frequently. That what is allowed today by the rules may not be allowed in a year from now or 2 years from now. So if we have an intent like this, then we should go ahead and do it now because it's good for 5 years and then you can get another 5-year extension. That gives us 10 years with the permit to act or work upon or build upon as time goes on.
Makes perfect sense.
Can I ask some questions?
Sure.
A very minor one first. Should we have any setback for the wetland areas or leave it as it would be for another lot?
As far as,
I'm sorry.
Well, the conservation guys asked for 100 feet, and we think that's unreasonable and not necessary, but should there be 50 or 25 or any at all?
We were gonna go with 100.
yeah,
We
we're gonna
did
do.
go 100
Oh, for
the entire
but
brook.
not-
100 feet for the.
Well, that's what
for
I
the
was
brook.
referring to, around the individual wetlands, 100 feet? I thought we
That's
said
what
we
they
didn't want to do
wanted,
that.
No, just the river.
Just the river
Okay,
itself.
river's good, river's good.
100 feet from the river,
Yeah, it was just
and-
for her.
And it's 100 feet either side. It's
Yeah,
not
correct.
just one side.
not just one side.
And no setback for minor wetlands here and there.
Correct.
Okay, I got you. The second question, do we have any outlook on, in terms of schedule or cost? The thing goes through my mind, I'm all in favor of moving forward with this type of thing, but this is a major expenditure, and if we are not going to be able to fund a new building for a number of years, and based on our recent budget experience, I think that's a distinct possibility. Are we spending money too soon?
Well, that's a legitimate concern or question. We are under contract with Ty and Bond already to permit. We could not act on the permit if we chose not to, but the decision when we made this, obviously, it was quite some time ago. We allocated the funding for it. This was not this year. We've been working on this for some time because we started as a recommendation of CIP. And originally, this was gonna be a combined facility where we did DPW and fire, or a public safety building.
Right.
We've determined that a combined public safety building, one, the cost is too great. Along with it, the police department still has many years in their building that they can, can do. Plus, they have further growth there if they want. By moving DPW, it was decided that the fire station, we couldn't find a centrally located in town for the fire station. They wanted, if we moved them up here, they were concerned about their run times, getting back into town and around the other side of the lake. So what they want to do is they have changed gears so that they are working with Ty and Bond on a renovation project to the Central Fire Station in kind there. Because with the DPW building, we're gonna be able to remove,
Tennis courts.
yes, we're gonna be able to remove, or we're gonna be able to remove water. They're gonna be able to expand that building, but the other thing is we will be able to relocate the courts that are behind the fire station to the current DPW site next to Jones Field. So we'll be able to do something with the parking by Jones Field and be able to do that.
Right.
So,
Where they store their gravel right now and.
Yes.
the sand.
Nice to be able to to utilize what we have.
Yeah.
Right.
And to reconfigure what we have.
Keep it as a closed building for indoor courts.
Right. So as we change gears and we move forward with that, that's where we came up with the idea for the DPW building and things. And then the concern is that they feel, when I say they, between former board members or current board members who were part of that discussion, but also CIP committee and the other department heads, that were involved in it at that time, was that opening up the land and showing the building envelope is really the best way to be able to show the voters what they would be voting on. Raw land that's forested and not even to grade is very hard to visualize for a lot of people. And to go out there and to establish what the footprint of the building will look like, what the infrastructure will look like, even if it's grade stakes and ribbons, it's a lot better to be able to visualize, because you're gonna be going to a bond for $6-7 million, probably. Hopefully, we can do it cheaper than that, but that's just a roundabout good number, and that's a huge ask. And part of the planning process, it's just difficult to work with a lot that's heavily wooded.
Right.
So that was the philosophy behind it. You know, obviously, we can revisit that. But as far as the permitting and the planning, we've already paid for most all of that. We're already under contract. That money was allocated. It's not coming out of this operating budget or anything like that.
That's good, good.
But
There's
it's,
nothing in there.
yeah,
What we're
yeah.
looking for at this particular time would be just the cost of the tree removal.
Yeah, the bids, we're waiting on the bids.
That's-
And then we need the bids to come in,
Gonna be.
what it's gonna be, and what do we have, allocated at this time? Do we have a figure of what we actually have at this time that has, been from last year? Or when we first started discussing this?
I'd have to look exactly what it is, but it's roughly around, we have, some funding and around about, I think it's 60-70 grand. And then the second portion of that, or half of it, was going to be allocated out of the Highway Building Capital Reserve, which that has what, 375, 400,000?
Somewhere around there, I believe, yes. I don't have that number in front of me either.
So either way, we'd be covered for the tree removal if we, in land clearing, once we get our bids in.
Right.
And see where we can go with that.
Yeah,
Mhm.
yeah.
And those will all be brought back to the board for consideration,
Yes.
awarding, and, you know, any stipulations at that point.
Right now, you're just looking for approval of actually getting the bids.
No, the bid,
No,
the
the
bid,
bids
the
already-
bid closes
Yeah, we
next
went
tomorrow.
that approval last time.
Yeah.
Put the bid specs out,
But
send
the
it
bids,
out.
but we haven't
Well,
received them yet.
No, it closes tomorrow.
It closes tomorrow.
And then we'll have what we have for bids at that point, and then they'll come back to the board for,
Okay.
you know, approval, awarding, and how we want to move forward from that point.
And Seth, once this is, we go forward with this, and once it's all logged and cleared, what do you do with it to keep it from becoming a muddy mess? Do you put ryegrass in there or something, or how do you work that?
Yeah, that's a lot of behind leaving the stump grinding and stuff on site was to use that for erosion control, and grass will grow back on it. And
Okay.
essentially, you know, grow back in and stabilize the soil. That was part of the bid too, was the grinding of the stumps and everything else for
Are you guys
erosion
gonna
control.
try to stump it and then get it relatively flat? Is that the intent?
No,
What's
so
there?
So the bid was just for, cutting, logging, and stumping, and grinding of the stumps, and piling the erosion control material on site. And
No, I meant that you guys, the guys at the highways plan to try to level some of it, keep it relatively level, or just leave it raw the way it is
Yeah, I mean, we
after it's cleared?
probably do a little bit if we could, but ultimately.
There's only so much you can do.
Right.
Until there's an actual
Right.
approvals for the plan and what's actually gonna be.
Well,
there.
the alteration of
Cut and
terrain will have grid specs, so we'll be able to, you know, we'll be able to work according
off
to
of that.
those.
trade Into that.
The AOT, but only to that extent.
Right.
Right.
What I'm getting at though is once it's cleared, you'll be able to kind of take us out there and give us,
Oh, yeah.
hey, stuff here.
Yeah.
It'll
yeah,
be,
like Ryan,
well, it can be
you know,
like
saying,
that.
good
Stake it.
Great stakes and ribbons, yeah, can really help lay something else so you can see it.
At least to have an idea where each building will be
a
and,
better visualize.
yeah,
Yeah, yeah.
take people right out there and show them.
Approximation of area.
So one of the questions raised by Conservation Commission was the amount of land that's 28 and a half acres to be clear cut. I looked at the drawings and I come up with 18, 19 acres that would need to be cut
Yeah.
in order to do all of this work. Is there a reason why we have an extra 10 acres being cleared out?
That should have come out of there. The extra 10 acres, what we originally were thinking of selective cutting it along the river, but that should have been removed with the 100-foot buffer that was previous. But yeah.
Yeah,
I
that
believe
was,
the
that was
overall-
reduced. Where are you
Well, the
getting that?
RFP says 28.5 acres.
Well. Mm-hmm. That was with Ty and Bond looking at it, so I don't know
Yeah.
whether or not they calculated that.
When the bids come in, is it gonna be for 28.5 acres or whatever?
Yeah,
That's the bid's gonna come in?
the bid was based off this conceptual
This,
and clearing those areas. They
Yeah,
did the
that's-
site,
we
they,
should get
they were
that.
given the opportunity to
This?
do a site walk.
I made this.
you made that?
The drawings that were provided and that are on site, I could not figure out where the limit of work was laid out. So I simply stole the drawing and put my own anticipated limit of work on it to calculate square footages.
Okay, yeah, there was an additional 10 acres along Herd Brook of selective cut that was originally in.
It was eliminated
Yeah,
at conservation's request.
yeah.
Okay,
To accommodate the 100-foot buffer.
so you may be getting some confusing results then on your bids that come in.
Could be a possibility, I suppose, yeah.
Yeah. Because from what I can tell, 28.5 acres, there's absolutely no reason in the world to be cutting 28.5 acres. So,
You gotta take into to
Take
account
the
the,
18 and then the 10.
Yeah.
yeah,
We've removed the 10 from the selective cut. So I think you're right. If this is the way that the bids went out, then they're probably gonna think they're clear cutting 28 acres.
Well, they went out, they did
Yeah,
come
I
out
did- I
for a
did have-
site walk based on that, and they did walk the property with Seth.
Yeah.
And you had
To
told them.
I know
put
they- on
a-
those
to get a
dates,
visual
okay,
on,
those dates.
on what it is that we're looking and
I
where
did,
the
it was-
parameters are.
It was Monday, the 14th. I did do a site walk at 9, and there was 3 contractors that showed up. We walked the property, and I did tell them especially that the 100-foot buffer on either side was the 10 acres of selective cut that was being removed.
okay.
so they are aware.
At least the 3 that showed up for the site visit.
Okay.
We just need to double check it when the
Yeah,
numbers come
you
in.
just have to look at it, you know,
Yep.
make sure that they understand that that's gotta be
Right.
left alone.
Any other questions, gentlemen?
Good.
Just wait for the bids to come in?
Yeah.
And bring them to us?
Yeah,
and
we'll have a lot
look
more to
them-
talk
look them
about.
over.
I just wanted to
Yeah.
give you an update.
I thought there was something that we had to vote on tonight
No.
with this, and, okay,
That letter just came in, so I wanted you guys to be aware.
I see, okay.
All right, we'll move on to,
Very good.
thanks, Seth.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Okay, not a problem.
Move on to selectmen reports. Mr. Carter, what you got?
I have nothing. They had rescheduled conservation meeting for a day I couldn't make it, unfortunately, so. But I got one coming up in 2 days, so.
All right, Mr. Shea, what you got?
Yes, sir, we have good news on the milfoil front. Most of our milfoil treatment has turned out to require a lot less effort and time than we originally budgeted and fully expected. So pending final inspections that the state does sometime in August, we should be in good shape as far as costs this year, with no chemical requirements at all, and much less of the manual diving and scooping than what we expected. The hazardous waste seems to be going well. I don't know, Ryan, if we need to continue our own committee on that or not?
No, when we voted to disband that agreement, the committee was formed based off of that agreement. So now that it's, on both sides, both towns, both communities have taken the necessary votes, to disband that agreement and joined, cause Wolfboro is also using Lakes Region,
Right. Yeah.
Planning Commission for solid waste, that there will be no need for us to continue to meet.
Okay, so I can cancel my
You can
$100 million.
cancel that one, I
liability
apologize, I
policy.
probably should have got that to you a little sooner, I apologize.
Good thing you didn't show up.
Oh, no, we don't have anything scheduled.
And the swap shop appears to be going great guns. I don't believe we've got much of anything in incidents. We did have a pile of stuff dropped off when it wasn't supposed to be, that the landfill guys took care of for us. But generally, we've got enough volunteers, there seems to be a lot of town interest, and so far, so good.
Actually went up there this weekend and everything looked like it was going good.
Yeah, every time I go in, everything looks like it's running smooth.
I did go up there. There was a post on Facebook about the carriage and stroller. So I went up there and I talked to Scott. There was actually no issue with that. I think that was mostly just the person that was talking about the stroller. Scott was like, it was fine. Somebody took it and it was fine.
all set.
Yeah, everybody, it's going really smooth
It
up
could
there.
have been just a mistake, and that's not a big deal.
Mr. Morse?
I have nothing at this time.
On the 12th, the water bandstand of this month went out to the water bandstand. We painted, we repaired some of the boards. Everything's looking pretty good. There is gonna be, I did notice, there is a little concern. We'll see maybe this winter and look at it again. The two corners are now lifted slightly, and you see a dip in the middle, facing north. So something in the cribbing has moved. So it's something that we'll probably have to look into a little bit more.
We gotta preserve that,
Yeah,
yeah.
just preserve it. I mean, we got the 100th anniversary coming up very, very soon, so we want to make sure but since we've been taking care of it and the committee's been going out there every year and doing maintenance and everything, it's in really tip-top shape from the water level up. So it's been in good shape.
Excellent.
And that's all I got.
I met with the planning board, a couple of small lot line adjustments, nothing crazy. The 140 project, he's gonna name it Sunnyvale Manufactured. That's like a home park. That got tabled, until the following meeting. They needed to put in some more, information on there, like their drawings were not on par. So they're gonna come back to us again and we'll see if they get the approval this time. And that's all I got. Town administrator report, what do you got?
I got about 15 items.
Said you didn't.
I only got 2. So in your binders, there was a phase timeline. We had a pre-construction meeting with the state officials, the contractor, Earth, and town representatives, department heads, about the culvert replacement on Route 11 and the road closure for that section just outside of Lakewood. So in there, I included their construction schedule, so you get an idea of the timeline. Beginning in August 4th, they're going to start their, mobilization, pre-construction signage and detour packages to start letting the communities know, people in the area, so they start planning for their commute. Pre-road work closure will begin August 25th. They're gonna start clearing, stumping, erosion control, sort of their preparations, the sheet pilings and the cofferdams. And then phase 3 will go into October. And then alternating one-way traffic will begin at the end of October into early November. And then they have a phase 5, which I think is more of like a return in the spring to see how things held up, to stabilize and do any cleanup in the spring for any kind of washout or erosion work. So, that's it. That was just an update on that. And then the second thing I have is that the board was officially asked to be a part of the Old Home Day Parade on Saturday, August 9th at 11:30. They had asked if we could talk about it a little bit and get a idea of who can attend and who would be attending, just so that we can get them a count of people and vehicles for the parade.
You have a vet?
Yeah.
I'll take a Camaro or something. You gonna bring your car too? Gentlemen, you gonna be able to make it?
Yep, looks like it.
Yeah?
They serving
Mr.
hot
Carter?
dogs or something?
What's the date? I'm sorry.
August
9th.
It's 9th,
for the parade?
11:30 a.m.
Yep.
I guess we'll all be there with 3 cars.
Okay.
I think I can do that.
Okay. What time is that? What time do we have to be?
Is it, you bringing the 10-wheeler?
Yeah. all right. There you go.
11:30, 11:30.
11, so we should be here by 11.
Yeah,
Is the staging still the same spot?
I'm looking at that to see whether or not, did you happen to catch the staging on the special event permit staging area? I can't remember if they changed it or not. Maybe, don't have it. Well, I'll get that out to you this beforehand.
Okay.
We could talk about it again anyways, because we have another meeting before August 9th, I believe, don't we? Yes.
Yeah, we should.
Yeah.
The first week in August.
Yeah, so we should have a meeting that week so we can talk a little more about the particulars.
Okay.
I think they were just trying to get a little bit of planning ahead of time.
Right.
Are burnouts during the parade like still frowned upon?
They are very frowned upon.
Are they seriously?
Yeah. There has been a couple incidents in other towns where drivers have lost control and entered the crowd. We don't want that to happen. That would be a no.
All right, well, moving on. Approval of the minutes.
Mr. Chairman, I move that we approve the minutes for the last meeting,
June 24th.
June 24th. God, it was a month ago, huh? We got a day off. All right, as presented?
I'll second that.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
And we're gonna keep the June 24th, 2025 non-public session closed. correct?
Yes.
Okay. All right, consent agenda approval. Did everybody look at it?
We still gotta vote on it. We still have to vote
Oh,
on it.
sorry. My bad. We vote on, all those in favor?
I'll second it. We vote to approve it.
Yeah, to
We
prove.
still have to
approve, sorry, my
We still
bad.
have to vote.
They're already sealed.
So you so you made the motion.
It was a long day.
I second.
Thank you
All in
for
favor?
filling. Releasing none, releasing none. Paul, thanks for the bailout. Consent agenda approval.
Mr. Chairman, I make a motion to approve the consent agenda as presented.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Discretionary action of requests for appointments. I don't see any here, so we'll do public input.
Before you do that,
Whoa,
Mr. Chairman.
yes.
I
Pump the brakes.
No, I should have mentioned this during my TA report, but I just want to throw it out to the board. Our last meeting in August is August 26th. And I just wanted to throw it out to the board. I know that I will be out of state on vacation on the 26th. I don't, what?
Yeah, who signed off?
Okay, so where you going?
So, where you
going? What are you
Where
doing?
are we all go?
So you
We
can,
invited?
we can either hold the meeting on the beach or we can,
We can do Zoom, right? I'm in.
so, no, what I was gonna say is I'm leaving on the 26th, but I will be here on the 25th if the board wants to slide the meeting. If not, I do have staff that can sit in for me if you wanna keep it that day, but it's up to you. I just wanna throw it out. We don't need to make a decision right now, but if you want, think about the Monday, the 25th, if you wanna do Monday night.
Gentlemen, do you have any objections to Monday?
I've got no issue.
If something I can move, but.
Mr. Shea?
No, I wouldn't want to upset the apple cart. I'll be,
Okay. Do you want to vote for the change the meeting date? Do we have to do that? or
You
just-
don't need to vote.
Alright.
The consensus is we're
We'll
on
get to 25th.
the 25th.
Okay.
No, Stacy will make it so. Something to do on the 25th?
Do we want to make sure we have something on the list the 25th? Or?
Well, we will make sure that we have an agenda that has items on it to make it worth meeting.
That's
but-
usually what happens, right?
Yeah, for some reason, even though this is the busy time for everybody else, town business slows down in the heart of the summer. But at the end of August, we're gonna start budget prep. So things will start amping up again.
Going on the
I
shenanigans.
know you've already done your report, administrative report, but can I ask something?
Sure.
And can we have an update on the elevator?
Yeah, so tomorrow, they will be here tomorrow to do the final check on the telephone system. We had a little hiccup with the telephone system. And what it was is we do, all of our telephone is voice over IP. Well, standard elevators work with a hard line. So we had to do a conversion and we were waiting for a part to come in that Josh had to order for us to convert the 2-line from the elevator to voice over IP into our server system. That got installed this weekend. He came in over the weekend and installed it into the system. The elevator people, the electrician, and Josh will be on standby to troubleshoot the system, but they're gonna run their final tests. And all we have left is the state inspection.
Okay.
And we're done. So the elevator's
Has that
done.
been scheduled, state inspection, or?
No, the elevator company scheduled it, but they wouldn't sign off on it until they ran the telephone test.
Okay.
Because the telephone is the recall stuff, because it's all automated now. They don't have the old telephones where you pick up and actually talk.
Right.
Automatically now, the fire department, I mean, not the fire department, the fire alarm system company came in and they already ran the default tests on the smoke detectors. Because each landing has a smoke detector and it has to recall the elevator to a different floor if that smoke detector goes on. So last week they ran all of those tests. Everything's fine, everything was good. That's when they discovered that the telephone thing wasn't working and weren't talking to each other. So they just have to finish that test and then they will call, hopefully by the end of tomorrow, they will be calling the state for our inspection. But as far as the elevator, we are done. It's been in, it's all in, it's
I
everything.
thought it was, so
Yeah.
that's why I just thought of it, and I wanted to see if you had an update on that.
Right. Matter of fact, I was working, I was working on it yesterday all day, coordinating the people to come back in so we could button this up because it's been dragging out. So.
It has, it's good to hear that it's, gonna be up and running soon.
Yes, yes.
So while we're asking questions, I'm not sure where in the agenda these come in that we can kind of bring up our own questions.
Sure.
Perfect. The Mount Washington,
Yes.
we talked, I don't know, 4 or 6 weeks ago about alternatives to get that landing repaired. And has any progress been made?
No, well, so I did research it like you guys asked. I had a conversation with Wolfboro Barge and Dock too. So proposals to get that done before Mother's Day weekend were submitted to the company. The company declined them. So it's the Mount Washington, it wasn't a matter of they couldn't get it done. I don't know that they liked the pricing or the bids, or if they liked the idea, because originally it was supposed to be before Mother's Day. Then they said they were gonna try to get it done before 4th of July, but I talked to, because I had there's a representative from the dock barge company that actually approached the town when those were first floating in the lake, before really spring even came about. And they wanted to help, and and I ran into that same individual shortly after our meeting, and we had a long conversation about it, because they were the ones that I was going to try to get to sort of bridge that gap. And based on that conversation, he said it's not that they couldn't get somebody, that somebody couldn't get in there, it's that what they had for opportunities or offers, for some reason, they didn't like it, and they didn't want to go with it. It wasn't the issues that we thought, let's put it that way.
Right. I hope they're not considering
Yeah, me
the
neither.
alternative, and that's not coming to Alton anymore.
No,
They better not be thinking that, because they really need to reconsider that. This is where it all started.
Right, and I don't think, I can actually dig into that further to make sure that that's not on the table.
Make sure that's not gonna happen.
But my understanding from what I got, and again, it's hard to get a hold, nobody answers the phone there
No, I've
regularly.
tried myself.
You
I
tried,
tried calling.
it's hard to get a hold of them. But the issue is, I think, and again, I'm sort of reading between the lines with the conversations, it sounds to me like it was already scheduled for major repairs. And I think that it sounded like they didn't want to go in and just fix the pilings, that they had an engineer company that came out. And they were looking at an overhaul revamp of that dock system, because as part of their maintenance schedule, it was already due. And that was something they personally communicated to me when this first happened, that they already had a contracted engineer company. But my understanding is they were looking at a lot more than just those piling replacements.
Then that would make sense.
And I think it sounded like piecemealing it by just having somebody come out and fix the pilings versus everything else that they wanted to do, and the contractor that they wanted to use, I don't think was a cost-effective approach for them. That's what it sounds like. But again, I've had a hard time getting back in touch with them directly.
I gotta tell you, I agree with Paul. Let's figure out if they're planning on trying to cut the stop altogether.
That's something that's crossed my mind, and a few people have asked. So
They don't
what does
even
this
stay
mean?
down
They
here.
don't wanna come to Alton anyway. I mean, they're coming less and less each year, but.
They're not even turning around in there anymore, right? They're not coming down, are they?
No,
No, not, right now they're not.
No, they're not even making it into the
No.
bay.
They're going to Wolfboro and turning around and going right back.
Yeah.
They're not coming down this way at all.
So, if I have to, I'll go right down to, I'll drive down there.
I was gonna suggest that.
I might have to,
We
because
need
it's
to-
just,
we might
they
have to
don't
grab a
have
vacation.
regular, the numbers that they have available. I've tried to find whatever alternative numbers or points of contact, and it goes to like an answering service. And that's where you get to leave messages and.
Maybe we should consider grouping up and going down.
I think it might,
Grouping up.
it might be warranted.
Just throw in the door.
That they continue to have us on their list.
They don't even, they could come down and turn around. They could turn around, right? They did it before. They won't even come down and turn around, just avoid the bay altogether.
No, they won't come down in here at all because they can't pick up or drop off. So they're not even bothering coming down here. I've seen them. They're going direct, they're steaming right by the other side of Rattlesnake, and they're going right to Wolfboro.
So I think the consensus is to try to do a little more.
Sure, I will keep going on it.
I think it'd be nice to
Yeah.
do that. Thank you.
As long as,
To answer your question, Drew, the first question you had, when's a good time for these? Anytime we go into selectmen reports or anything, if the board has a specific question for me or an update or something you like, that's definitely, it's open, you can ask it at any point in time, you guys are the board, but that's also a good time when we're going down the line for selectmen reports to ask any question you might have.
So for instance, tonight I could have said, I have nothing to report, but.
But I have a question.
Okay,
absolutely.
All right, thank you.
We can do these things.
Yeah.
can I ask a question?
Sure.
As long as we're on the subject, I saw a letter from FEMA about redoing the floodplain map. Do we have any concerns there that they're all of a sudden gonna decide some areas in a floodplain that's gonna cost somebody a lot of insurance or a lot of headaches?
No, well, I would say no, the concern isn't going in that direction. The concern, or it's a welcome, because right now the FEMA maps, my understanding is the last dated FEMA maps that we have are 1989.
It was a good year. Good
Yeah,
year.
so, what we have found, because we we had to go out and do our own, testing with Ty and Bond, because the reason we were avoiding the fire station down to the central station is because according to the FEMA maps, it's in the floodplain, the central fire station, so is the highway department. So we went and we had Ty and Bond and their GIS people and all that stuff, and they went out and shot grades. They shot the medium high water at the dam, and they came back, and the floodplain actually only comes 3 feet up on the banking. So we're hoping that the FEMA maps now are going to be much more accurate now that they have a lot more advanced technology to shoot those grades and those levels, to take some of the overly broad mapping and shrink it down a little bit more.
So it should be an advantage.
It should be an advantage, not a disadvantage at this point.
Thank you.
A lot of this.
Okay, I got one more quick question.
Okay.
So going through, going through the manifests. In manifest number 27, we, on a 2019 Dodge Charger,
Yes.
we spent $720 fixing something that appears to have been damaged by work done by Key Collision in Rochester, that shows up in manifest number 26, that cost us like $3,900. As best as I can tell, it looks like the scenario was Key Rochester went in, damaged some items when they were replacing a bumper on this vehicle, and it caused it so that it wouldn't stay running, started, it would die after 5 minutes, and then Key Chrysler figured it out and made the repairs for $800. I'm just wondering why we didn't go back after.
Well, we shouldn't have paid
Key
for something
Collision.
they damaged. That's the first I've heard of that. I will have to contact the chief on that one, because, when they submitted the invoices, it's not, if it's not over 20, or if it's not over, what is it, $2,500, it doesn't come to my desk for signature.
Yeah, it doesn't get flagged.
Yeah, it doesn't get flagged. So I'll just need to follow up with the chief on that and
I
get
do-
some clarification on that, exactly
Yeah, I
how
remember
that transaction took place.
issue. I remember him telling me that they had to tow it back to the actual dealership. There was something that they missed. I don't think it was caused by them. I believe it was missed when they did the body work at the body shop.
When you read through the list of the work that was done to fix the problem,
Yeah.
they identify a number of items that had been altered in the vehicle that never should have been altered.
That I did not see.
Yeah, that shows up in that manifest 27.
That I did not see.
I will ask for a quick summary of what took place via email, and I can get that information to you.
Okay, thanks.
We have, if we're on the subject of chargers, I have repaired a couple of them over the course of, and there's a couple of them. We had to do a steering rack in one. We had to do upper ball joints and a CV shaft in Chris's car. And Chris's car is possibly starting to develop a bigger problem. So just everybody's aware.
Well, we got 3 brand-new Tahoes.
Yep.
Pick one of them.
No, because
His has.
the cage that he has for the K9 fits the Charger. That's an expensive outfit right there.
That was because the AC condenser.
So unfortunately, that's why we started phasing replacements with the Charger, with the Tahoes, because as the chief had said, the mileage and the idle time on all of these Chargers are just getting up there. They're 6-7 years old now.
I think Chris's car has the most with 144,000, and his obviously has to run the most because of the dog. And then the other frontline Chargers range from 60 to like 78-ish, 79,000 miles. And then obviously the Chiefs car has the least amount of miles. So, going forward, we'll have to, I think they're gonna do some
Some swapping around.
Chris in a Tahoe is gonna be astronomical. It's gonna be astronomical. Totally not cost effective. And
Just switch them around a little bit.
the other thing I wanted to just put a bug in your guys' ear as far, I do the car thing, that's what I do. If we do, at some point in the future, decide to trade in one of the Chargers, depending on what we get for a trade-in value, I just wanted to put a bug in your ear about possibly, if it's $2,000-$3,000 or something like that based on its condition, I think we should consider keeping it, because the parts that are in these cars are getting like ridiculously expensive. One headlight, a couple of the Chargers down there need headlights. They're $800 a piece. The racetrack LED tail light, that's almost $1,000. And if we keep a car that we were going to get almost nothing for, we keep it at the highway. Just keep it at the highway. Keep it at the highway. Well, eventually. That's why I was considering.
Just throw it over.
That's like a 28-acre thing?
Yeah. Start stacking them on top of one another. We don't know what to do, just all set.
Sorry, just wanted to put a bug in your ear for that one.
Yeah, right. Sorry to have derailed everything.
Anybody else got something to do?
Yeah,
Okay, all right, yeah, I heard that. All right, discretionary action on requests for appointments. We have none this evening. So public input, limited to 5 minutes per person on any governmental town business. Do we have anybody? You're limited to 5 minutes, Kelly.
Good evening, gentlemen. I just first
State
wanted-
your name.
Kelly Sullivan, sorry. Just wanted to say thank you to the general public and the people that donated for the Parks and Rec sign. I think that is wonderful. Considering both of the schools, the fire department and the transfer station all got new signs this year. It was nice to see that somebody came forward and, there was a group, and we will have a new sign down for Parks and Rec. I think that's fantastic. Anytime we can collaborate and work together is always awesome. I do have a few questions about the Hidden Spring project. The RFP does say 17 acres and then 11.5 on the east side of Herd Brook, which I would think is the playground or the field side of the brook if I looked at the conceptual design. correctly. So my biggest concern was the 28 acres. I'm fully in support of a DPW department. We clearly need new buildings and structures for our heavy departments around here. That goes without saying. So if there's some confusion with the 28 acres, I can go back on that, but just staying with what that is, because that's what is actually stated, 28.5 acres. My company, when I go into a job, we operate at best practices. I would want the town to do that. So even if nobody else would stay within these buffers of zones, I think the town should look at things a little bit differently. When you look at wetlands and buffers and you look at the high school was once upon a time wetlands or, not buildable. We eventually got buildable, and the fields have nothing but problems over there. The baseball teams are always in the building for practice. They're always underwater. They've done a lot of work over there. So not saying, obviously, I understand that there's the 100-foot setback on the brook, which is appreciated and necessary. Not having gone out and put eyes on the scene, on the property myself, it's hard for me to gauge off of just the map. I'm just saying, obviously, we want to give some buffer because I just think in the long run, it's going to end up costing us money if we get too close in there anyway, because wetlands are wetlands, right? They stay wet for a really long time and kind of provide, are a pain in the butt in the future. My big concern was the acreage, because we need a building. And I understand that it is easier for people to see something, to understand it, but we have so many CAD programs and we have a conceptual design online. You can get anything, I don't think we need to clear a whole swath that big just to show people what I feel, will take some time to get. As Ryan stated, it's going to be a huge bond. I have a lot of time, effort, and energy into a lot of things through this town, part of which is recreation. I know I've said it, most of you are aware, but for people that aren't, I was on the community profile. And from that, I was on the recreational facilities committee. I did the master plan committee. There's a lot of talk about Parks and Rec and needing infrastructure and facilities. We need a lot. So as a town, and it's very important to, being 2 years in default budget, we kind of see how the town operates, right? They're not big spenders. We take pride in the fact that we have a very low tax bracket. I appreciate that. We want to keep it that way. So I feel people vote that way first, with their money in their pocket first. So I would rather clear a smaller area that will give us the needed space for the building that we need than clear a huge area to have it not come to fruition, to then have to clear it again in the future, and then now you're putting good money after bad. Those were just a couple of things, so just to throw that out there. And obviously, you said tomorrow was the end of the date, and then that will obviously come before town meeting again to discuss all of those. Awesome. Thank you.
Thanks, Kelly.
Thank you. Thanks, Kelly.
Anybody else?
Phil Hauser. Drew, thanks for clearing that 28-acre issue up. I think that saved us a little time here. I also want to speak to the Department of Public Works. Clearly, the infrastructure that is needed, they maintain the roads, the water department maintains the water. I mean, for me, those are like the critical areas that you are actively working to address, and I appreciate that. I want to address the Board of Selectmen specifically. I understand you wear multiple hats. You're trusted elected officials. You're essentially the town managers, and keep an eye. Thank you again, Drew, for bird dogging all the details that make a difference. Most, if not all of you, have pretty deep experience in construction and management. So I'm going to ask you to put your frugal Yankee hats on and combine all those skills. You know effective ways to clear land. You've been doing it in various capacities, probably for decades. At least some of you have. you understand local building materials, what's available, what's gonna last longest, what's gonna be the cheapest to maintain over the long term. So again, I've heard a guesstimate here of like $6 to $7 million for development of the parcel in question. I'm going to ask you to put your collective brains together and really do some brainstorming to see if you can bring that into something that we can do, you can do, at a cost that the town can accept, because I do think it's very important that the Department of Public Works and possibly Water and possibly even Parks and Rec get a new home that's gonna last for a few decades that allows you to possibly sell some smaller parcels that you could use for something else. But I really would like to see an effort to bring that cost down to something that feels a lot more manageable to me, a person who doesn't know a whole lot about this, but who could like drop over at the thought of $6 or $7 million. So, thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. Anybody else? Rochester's is huge.
The other chair, just because it hasn't been used. I'm Donald Richardson.
Hey, Don.
How you doing? Good evening. One of the things that I enjoy about living in a small town is that most people, when they get it right, get a pat on the back from their neighbors, and most people, when they don't do it right, they stand up and say, I didn't do it right. It was a significant lesson in my upbringing, and eating humble pie when it's warmer is sometimes a little bit better. So I was disappointed that the last board meeting didn't happen because I needed to eat my humble pie for another 2 weeks. When I last came to you guys, my ill-chosen words about how the temporary water line coming through Route 11 and onto my family property put the water department in a bad light, and that's my fault. I spoke poorly. And I went the next day and apologized to Courtney and Thomas and the others, and I'm also coming to apologize on the record to the board. My concern then and now is, what is the bigger picture? Now that we have a little bit more moving forward from the state and what the action plan is and the various phases and so forth, what does that picture look like as far as that temporary water line? Does the new calendar represented by the state change when we're going to shut off the seasonal water? I haven't heard anything about that yet, and there's a bunch of people that are on that line that don't even know that the project is coming. So I'm going to ask that in the pre-construction signage that's due to start on the 4th of August, if I understood correctly, that we may also consider some form of a mailing or signage to people that are on the seasonal water. Because if that means shutting it down sooner than October 15th, which now sounds like it may, no?
Oh, it's not. It's not gonna affect, because we already relocated the water line out of the work area.
Excellent.
So the water line they already trenched it and sent it across further down. The water department did.
For farther up.
Further up,
West.
yes.
Yes,
I'm
okay.
sorry. Further up, so it's out of so it will not affect that. And I did ask them at the pre-construction meeting, just so you know, that they put a series of electronic message boards out
Excellent.
to notify everybody, on that sense.
Excellent, thank you. My second thing, I want to thank the board for all of the items that you have helped to approve and move forward that are really making a big difference in our town. The three examples that come immediately to my mind, the crosswalks down in the bay, it's really changing. People are using them, and it's minimizing the near misses that we've had for decades. That's a huge, big difference. The swap shop, I think, is doing exceptionally well, despite all the concerns going in ahead of time. And Ginny Douglas Park, the new roof on the gazebo looks absolutely fantastic, absolutely fantastic. My last thing, in terms of the project to move DPW, I hope there's some opportunities for more public input as we look at moving different buildings and different departments to different places. I look at the idea, coming from a Parks and Recreation background, that putting 2 basketball courts and a small playground and giving it 100 parking spaces, that just doesn't compute in my mind, kind of like the math for how many acres are getting cleared. I would much rather see us take the opportunity to consider maybe a portion of where DPW now is, could be where Parks and Recreation offices get relocated and some field space be put in there. We already have parking, we already have flatlands, we already have opportunity to do something. And then that could also leave a parcel of land that perhaps the town does consider selling from a revenue perspective. I'm not sure where the best place for water would be. I assume that DPW maintains the trucks and equipment that water uses, and there's a real symbiosis there. So maybe water needs to be part of the building up there. I don't know, just speculation. But I'm hoping that as this project moves forward, it's not just the thought of how can we save some money, but how can we, when we spend the money, make it more effective for the outcome for our community? Because our master plan for 23 highlights the need for a community center. And that space where DPW currently is has the opportunity to be something like that. Right there where Jones Field is, where the extra boat trailers go, that could be an amazing spot for a community center. Saved by the bell. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
One thing I did want to add as far as the Hidden Springs property is concerned, you know, the one thing you do have to consider is we just spent all this money on a truck, on the roll-off truck, the grader, like all these very, very expensive. I mean, that grader was $500,000, right? These things sit outside. You know what I mean? That's a lot of money to sit outside. All the sanders, I mean, people stole plow pumps because stuff wasn't inside. So it's all things, just as the general public is concerned, it's all things to consider about trying to get all this stuff under a roof so that, you know, we talk about prolong the life of all this equipment. All right, so we have nobody else from the public? Everybody good? All right. Seeing none, we'll close the public input. We have no non-public tonight. Andrew? Andrew's just, you still.
That was painful, wasn't it?
You got nothing?
I got nothing.
You're not gonna?
Motion to adjourn. You feel all that.
You look burned, but.
This is how many days?